Hey everybody, welcome to the Entrepreneur Experiment podcast with me, Gary Fox. This is the podcast for you if you want to build your business, your body, and your brain. This is the kickoff interview episode for season 14 and is with none other than Mr. Pat Phelan. This is one of the best interviews I've ever done. A lot of factors came together here to make this a very special chat. We did it in the iconic Offices Private Cinema, which is a beautiful venue. We had a live audience, and most of all, we had Pat. Listen to the urgency with which Pat talks about his life and his business. It's impossible to listen to this podcast and not be motivated, inspired, and fired up to either start a business or to improve the one you're already doing. Here is my chat with Mr. Pat Phelan, the founder of Sisu, and now also Limbo. First, quick thank you to my sponsors. If you're a regular listener of the pod, which I hope you are, you'll know I've been hosting the podcast from iconic offices for quite a while now, and things have gone really, really well. So well, in fact, that I'm now a member of iconic offices, working and recording from one of their spaces. This means I can vouch for the benefits it gives to any business. On that note, iconic offices have given me a number of exclusive complimentary day office trials from my audience. So try it out for yourself for the day. Bring your team. No catches. Simply go to the web link in the description and enter Gary23, so it's Gary23, to claim your complimentary office for a whole day. It's a pretty fantastic offer. Thank you, iconic offices. Pat, welcome to the pod.
Thank you.
Welcome to the live pod.
My God.
No pressure.
Are we live?
No, we're not live.
Oh, thanks for the God.
No, so you can
I
say,
can swear and you can
say anything
edit.
you like.
Ben can edit.
If Ben can edit, we'll fix it in post. So yeah, we're recording audio, video, but we'll fix it all later on. So yeah, be as forthright as you want. Pat, welcome.
Thank you.
Been looking forward to this one for a long time. Been following your journey for years and years. You're one of the few people in Irish business that openly shares a very honest account of what it's like. So tell us about, we talked about a mega trend earlier.
Yeah.
Health, fitness, wellness. Talk to me about that. How did you get into it?
I suppose earlier on, it was kind of the Trustev journey was ending in New York. TransUnion had bought us.
What was Trustev?
Trustev was a fraud detection platform, one of the really early ones, built out of Cork. Clients all over the world. I had to move to New York to scale it. So my investors found me a desk back in the day, moved to the Bronx, commuted on the 6 train every day. And it was really quick, took about 3 years. TransUnion bought it, which were the...
Start to finish?
Yeah.
Jesus.
TransUnion bought it, which is the second largest credit bureau in America. America's all based around credit. So you get this number when you're born, an SSN, Social Security number, and all your credits based around it, so you can get credit in real time, walk into a store, immediate credit. And they were having a fraud problem. We went in and helped them, one of their big clients, and it was done in sub a year.
Was your original idea back in Cork to just build it for the States, or how does that start?
It was kind of to solve a problem. I had been at Cubic. We had a ton of fraud online. And I thought, well, why does this continue to happen? I wonder, could I build something to stop fraud? There was nobody even thinking about it at the time.
When was this? What year was this?
2008.
Okay.
Started thinking about identity and digital identity, which, you know, is a big trend now. But at the time, you were talking to people about fraud and they didn't know what it was, especially e-com guys. It was kind of, fraud was 5 to 7% and it was the cost of doing business. And it was written off as kind of, here's fraud, here's marketing. And we built it in Cork, myself and a guy called Chris Kennedy, who was my CTO at Cubic. He came with me, built it, hired a few guys who were well known to everybody. Kieran Sexton, John Peavy, built a DC, built a great team out of Cork, and then we had to scale it worldwide, raise some money, Notion Capital, Greycroft, raised some money, went worldwide with it, got some really big clients, and it worked really well. We had a great offer. It's good for me, good for the investors. And we took it early and probably exited a bit soon. But it was a great sum, great exit, a great earn out afterwards, which we achieved as well.
3 years is...
Yeah. And 2 years earn out then. So, but I worked for TransUnion and did 2 more years after that. But I was in New York, kind of thinking about what to do next. And
Was Trustev your first thing?
no, I did internet cafes and long distance calling cards and VoIP platforms. You know, people like we had a huge calling card business. There was I'd be out here in Rathmine selling to all the Pakistani shops, in Moore Street selling to all the Chinese shops, because there was no WhatsApp. So it was either Skype or a calling card. So that was my first big business.
You set it up yourself?
Sold that, set it up myself, sold it to IDT. Biggest calling card company in the world.
When was that?
2003.
Okay, so that was your first kind of big exit, was
First big, first one where you had no mortgage kind of thing one, you know. I wouldn't say a big exit.
What did it feel like, the first sale?
Bit of freedom, you know, because like 2000 I stopped drinking and there was no mortgage, there was no house and it was rent and you know what I mean? So it was that kind of stability piece came in. And then kind of, I'm not very money driven. I don't have much interest in money. I have a nice car and that's kind of it really. And, but when that pressure was off, that you could just start kind of dreaming.
Did it change how you think?
Changed how I think, but it hasn't changed how I am. You know, I often joke, you know, that genuinely, if I took €100 out on a Monday, I would have changed Sunday night. And somebody said to me a few weeks ago, that's because you're tight. And it's not.
Well,
it's
I wasn't going to say
like,
it, but like...
It's just like a cup of coffee or whatever, you know, I have a very busy but very simple life. You know, I'm not staying in the Soho Grand or that kind of stuff, you know, it's like, I think I'm still the same. Maybe I'm not.
What, when you say it changed how you think, were you always going to go again? Was it never even an option to do anything
Never
else?
even an option. And I know what the next 3 are.
Now?
No.
Oh, we'll get into that.
You know what I mean? I've always been like, no is not enough. So I was in New York thinking about what was next. And, you know, it was kind of the early emergence of The Ordinary, big beauty brand, Kardashians, this brand called Dry Bar, which, you know, I used to get off at Bryant Park and I'd look over every morning. And there was a queue every morning. So eventually it bothered me so much. I went over and New York women were paying $65 to get their hair blow dried before work. I thought, Jesus, beauty is huge. So I decided for a toothbrush. So rang Casey in Shenzhen and said, listen, I have an idea for a toothbrush, tell me about it. And there was a thing at the time, if nobody's ever seen it and are interested in marketing, it's the best piece of marketing I've ever seen. It's a video for a company called Dollar Shave Club. It'll blow your mind. It's just incredible. Second one is good as well, but the first one's amazing. And I thought, one, people are disgusting. They keep their toothbrushes for a ridiculous amount of time. So I thought, hey, I'm going to give them the head for free, but once a quarter I'm going to send them two brushes, and I'm going to invent tooth foam because toothpaste is stupid how it works, and I'm going to invent flavoured mouthwashes. And you're going to get this pack once every 3 months. And lads, I went so far with it. We had the head designed. I actually built tooth foam, which works like shaving foam, so there's no waste. And I changed my mind.
I was going to say, well, where are we going?
I just changed my mind, and now it's a startup that's raised 50 million called Quip, which is doing the exact same thing.
Did you just lose interest?
I just didn't think it was big enough.
Right. When you said big enough, I want to go back into something you said there a minute ago. I know what the next 3 are, and you said, you know, you're not motivated by money. What drives you?
I think it's probably fear. Fear of failure is a big thing with me. And I think it's really about finding those trends really early. And I'd say that's what I'm good at. I really think that's a skill I have of, you know, like I remember Hayes will tell you there, like when I said I'm going to do Botox, you know, the Irish tech community lost their minds. I said, like, you know, and I remember going into Ian Siglo and Greycroft in New York and trying to raise money for a thing that sticks needles in your face and has bricks and mortar as well. And he said to me, oh, no, we won't be doing that at all.
Yeah.
And I said, but you made whatever, double digits X on the last one. Do you not think I can do it again? He said, I do, but we're not investing in that. Go build something in tech. And, you know, it took me 6 more meetings to convince him that this is, and I remember going over, and Brian Cotter, who's my partner and founder in Sisu, I remember we flew over to New York to just try raise the money. And we went into Greycroft's headquarters in Madison. And the guy going in said, listen, you'll have to spray your hands. There's some Chinese thing. And we went into the building and Ian Siglo said, okay, I'll give you the money. And we came out, flew back to Ireland. The next night, Leo was on TV saying, we're shutting the whole country down. And Ian Siglo was emailing me, I don't know, forget about this. And
what stage were you at then?
we had, well, like, it's funny, nobody knows the Sisu backstory. Sisu backstory is James and Brian, both doctors, brilliant guys, brothers. They came up with what was the precursor to Sisu, which was called Visage. Visage Clinic, they came up with it because they both did medicine in Prague and they did student loans. And James had worked for some woman in Dublin doing Botox to try to pay back his student loans. Brian did the same. And they thought, this isn't really medicalized. It's not patients. It's pump it in. We're going to do this in our way. And it's going to be medicine. And it's going to be patients. And it's going to be clean. And you can get a booking at any time. And it's going to be online. It's going to be supported. And me and James are friends for 20 years. And I'd been saying to James would be ringing me, hey, how do I do Google Analytics? How do I build a blog? Blah, blah, blah. And then I kept coming home every quarter and looking at it thinking, wow, this sounds like SaaS. And, you know, if you get Botox January 1st, you're getting it again March 1st. Every 3 months.
Here we go. Okay. So your tech brain.
And now I know if I can get the CAC low enough, if you can get the reviews high enough, if you can get the repeats even higher, and if you can convert the free consultation at a really reasonable percentage, and that's what we did. So I said, listen, Visage was pink, and every hairdressers are called Visage. If it's 1980 hairdresser. And I said, look, we do the branding. We'll go out to guys I used before. They come up with Sisu. And we scaled from there. Now it's like 20 in Ireland, 3 in London, 6 in the States. 6 in the States and in 3 different states. And like, it's really changed now into the, you know, they talk about a super trend, and aesthetics is now a super trend. In fact, all beauty is a super trend. And wellness is the next step or evolution in that.
So you took a tech entrepreneur's approach to a traditional business.
Yeah.
How did you partner with the lads? They were ticking along. How did you come in?
New company, equal shareholders, go out and find money. Raised $1 million fairly rapidly. The usual suspects. Liam Casey, Dan and Linda, Cork Mafia, a few from Dublin. And that got us going. And then...
Did any of them give you pushback?
No, none.
Interesting.
None.
The fellow entrepreneurs didn't. They saw it.
Yeah. And then raised VC money post-COVID. Ian Siglo eventually came in when he saw that we came back from COVID.
So you proved the concept with how many?
Proved the concept with 5.
Chunky enough, like.
5. It was hard going, you know. We were tight.
Because I follow you on Instagram, and you do see you in there at like 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night in these stores getting them open.
I just drive in and take a picture.
Don't burst the bubble, Pat.
No, it's I like being there when they open. So I'm usually like, we just opened one in Fort Lauderdale, and like I went over for 3 weeks and it was in shit. 48 hours before it was due to open, I'm swearing this one isn't going to make it. And it looks like that on Instagram, you know, or Twitter or something, where people might think I'm joking. Like this one was really bad, 48 hours to go.
Do you know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, work on your business, not in your business. How do you find that balance? Because you seem to have walked that line.
Difficult. I get up very early. So I get up like 5:15, 5 o'clock. So, you know, when my competitor is going to work, I've half a day done.
Is that how you think of it?
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, someone asked you to ask about sleep, and I'm not the best person to do. So it's like 5 a.m. to midnight every day.
5 to midnight. But that's set.
Yeah.
Gone at 12, up at 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Finish at midnight, start at 5.
So what are you doing? What are you doing at 5 o'clock?
Reports from the States. Looking at social media to see what are the DMs like, reviewing patient feedback.
That level of detail.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you keep your head around it?
It's easy. I've got those extra 3 hours.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But you're active though. You're training as well. So you're
Yeah.
up at 5. You're reviewing. Then what are you doing? Training, getting on the road.
Training early or training late, one or the other. So bike, ski, row, loads of cardio. I'm in the office usually around 9:30. Leave the office about 4. Might do more cardio. Eat some food. Go back working. Usual attractive stuff, you know?
Do you switch off?
Not really, no. Weekends I do kind of saunas and sea swims, but not a lot, no.
Do you love it?
I do, yeah.
Do you ever go on holidays? Do you ever just totally down tools, completely off?
No, not really.
Really?
Yeah.
So you say you're driven by failure, but I think anyone looking at you externally would go, he's one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Ireland.
Yeah, I wouldn't see that.
What do you see?
I kind of see that I didn't start till I was 37. So, you know, there's a lot to make up.
Okay.
A lot of time, you know, and I think, you know, there's a lot of stuff I'm really interested, which kind of helps people to live longer. And, you know, if you've got, you know, 57, will I make 120? Maybe.
You're the only other person. I said on the pod I'm going to live to 100. You outdid me and said 120. Is it because, do you think you're motivated by these mega trends in the health and living longer because you're saying you started late? Are you trying to stretch it out on the other end?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But I think what you're going to see is in the next 2 to 3 years massive advances in health. Like insane. Everything's going to change. I think that whole wellness thing, fitness, bespoke gym stuff, training, weight loss, you know, you're seeing it even at the moment with Limbo, and lots of other stuff, you know, Apple moving into the space more and more, women's health. There's going to be a lot of change in healthcare. And healthcare, not in a medical piece, but, you know, if you go to Florida, Texas, where I've spent a lot of time lately, you know, testosterone clinics everywhere, injectable clinics everywhere, you know, semaglutide. The world is changing at a rapid pace around wellness. You know, and like when we opened Sisu at the start, you know, our criteria for a new clinic was side street, near the car park, people, you know. And now it's like shopping centre, downstairs, can we get next to Louis Vuitton? You know, high profile, next to the gym, because it's now changed from nobody needs this to everybody wants it.
Why?
I think because the late millennial, especially, our age demographic is, like, from COVID has changed dramatically. So, like, when we started building Sisu, it was about older people, all women, wanting to look younger. Now it's about, like, we're 20% men in the US, which is an astonishing figure. It's not that high in Ireland, but it's getting there. And it was all about older people wanting to look younger. Now it's about younger people wanting to look better. And that's been the change, because what happens is, if you think about how even remote work has changed, people are looking at themselves in a screen.
Do you think that made a difference?
Yeah, 100%. The Zoom
Wow.
boom.
Zoom boom.
And that's what we called it.
I bet you did.
So what happens is people look at an inverse image of themselves on a
Right.
camera,
Okay.
and it's exaggerated. So, oh, that thing that really annoyed me, that one line over here, this one, just here. And that thing that really annoyed me, I can get it fixed. It's 300 quid. I'm going to get it fixed today. If you're a woman, your makeup's going to glide on. If you're a man, you look fresher. Like, if you think about you get up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you see wrinkles. Tired. I feel tired. Whereas that's not there, you go, oh, I feel pretty good. I'm buzzing today.
I'd never even thought of it until you said it there. Like, you know, before COVID, look in the mirror maybe once, twice a day.
You're looking
Now
at
people
yourself
are staring at
all
themselves
the
for
time.
8 hours. Wow. Never even thought of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that like, I think we coined it. I think then The Guardian picked up on it. It's been everywhere now, the Zoom boom for aesthetics.
Interesting what you say. Instead of looking younger, they want to look better.
That's it. Like, why are people going to the gym all the time?
So what are you seeing in the States? You touched on a few of them there. You said health is going to change dramatically in the next 2 to 3 years. What else are you seeing in the States? You said testosterone clinics. What else is coming down the tracks, do you see?
I think studios for training.
What do you mean?
Kind of CrossFit, but a bit more of a leap. Very technical, very feedback driven, digital, watches, heart monitors, you know, and they were there before, but now they're really mainstream. People competing against themselves. Hey, here's how many yards I got yesterday. Here's how many, here's my results. Bespoke medicine. Definitely microdosing. for
Really?
people. Yeah, huge.
You hear about that in San Fran, but I haven't heard of anyone.
Oh, yeah, it's going to, within 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So you reckon the next 2 years are going to be transformative?
Transformative, mental health, enormous. Instead of going to the doctor, it's the clinic. VHI are working on it at the moment in a big way.
Okay.
I think, again, instead of going to a doctor, it's more of the wellness piece.
Preventative.
Blood
Yeah.
analytics, CRISPR, which is going to be huge, where we'll make stuff. CRISPR makes stuff that we can inject into ourselves.
Okay.
That's only around the corner, sub 10 years. Beauty is huge, obviously. The well-known brands are just like blowing it out of the water. Fashion is changing dramatically.
When you say beauty, what trends are you seeing in the States?
Hair replacement is going to be enormous,
You talked about
growing rapidly.
Grow Club.
Just done an investment in Dublin, great company. Hair replacement, eyebrow replacement. There's lots. And it's cool for me because I was a little bit early on the team, and now I've got probably 10 investments in the space that I think are going to be transformative over time.
You kind of spoke earlier about transitioning across. Was it hard to get your head into this industry?
No.
You saw the opportunity.
But I was blessed because I have two great guys who are doctors.
Right.
And the key part here is that I'm able to build a business. They're able to work on the business, but all the patients are protected. I don't need to know anything.
Okay.
I know that my two partners are the two best guys to do that. And that, you know, that medicine part is sacrosanct in our business, and I don't need to know about it.
Okay. So you focus
So
on
I'm
your
able to
strengths.
scale the front, the middle, the top, the marketing, and they're able to go, and all our patients get a perfect experience.
You talked about Limbo as well earlier.
Yeah.
What is that?
So Limbo was kind of kind of a flash. So I got very heavy. Before COVID, TransUnion bought us, they had me flying all over the world. You know, it's funny. You know, they sent me to the strangest of places. You know, when you've not been a traveller, but you know New York, you know Boston, you know San Francisco, and then they bought us and they wanted to put Trustev into everywhere in the world they were. So you know, Pat, you're going to India next week. I remember being in Medellin for a week, Bogota, because they own the credit bureaus there, and it was all like 5-star. You know, you're up to. I'd never flown first class in my life, and like it's now, hey, you're an EVP of marketing, go up the front, and you know, 5-star hotels, and that's just kind of where you're working at there.
Right.
And
was it weird going from the owner to into this big machine?
Yeah, very hard, difficult. I used to get regularly called before HR for using the C word.
Clients?
They said they'd never heard that in Chicago before. I said, I'm not sure, but I think you have. But yeah, it was a big beast. And then we went public. And
okay.
So it was a huge beast of a company. And I got very heavy and gained tons of weight, about 18 or 19 stone. And COVID came. And I said, I better sort this out. And my friend's a mad scientist and a trainer and owns gyms and very high-end personal training. So I said, I thought, how am I going to get to Tony? Because I knew he was working. Because the checkpoint was down the bottom of the road. And there's only one road, like, from Killeens to town. So I bought a bike, and as if I tried to drive, they'd stop me. So every morning I'd zoom past them on the bike. And I'd go in and train with Tony, and Tony used to prick my finger. And he'd say, oh, your bloods are up today. What were you eating last night? Okay. I thought, that's really interesting. And then you're being someone who's kind of an addictive personality, you're going, how can I game this?
Yeah.
I was thinking, sure, I can go home now and eat as much chocolate as I like. But all I've got to do is not eat within the 8-hour window that I see him. Right. And he can't see it. And then I started thinking, I wonder if I can how could I connect that to the web so that he can see me? And I rang Rorik, who was my CMO at Trustev. I said, there's this really interesting thing that Tony does. And we started putting it together. And now, I'm not sure if anybody knows what Limbo is, but my blood sugars are available on the internet. My heart is available, SOP, everything. So we have a full platform that's clipped into my arm here. And it's over the counter. We can supply them to anybody. And there's the watch. And there's a team of about 20, and it tells me when to eat, what to eat. If something I ate was bad for me that I didn't think. So, you know, you're doing stupid experiments, like give me a coffee with almond milk, give me a coffee with oat milk, give me normal milk, and it's almond milk is good for you.
Right.
Oat milk is full of sugar. And the Western diet's so wrong. You know, you get up in the morning and, you must have porridge. Like, what are you eating carbs for at that time of the day? You're not going to burn them.
Or why are you eating them at all?
Protein. Yeah. Or why are you eating them at all? So I lost about, 7 stone.
Right.
And we
Over
built
how long a period?
2 years.
Right.
And we built a platform.
So it's blood glucose. For anyone not familiar, it's blood glucose, right?
Yeah, it's monitor here.
I knew someone would.
Oh, and the other one. That's it.
Okay.
So it's a blood glucose monitor with a transmitter that's Bluetooth into my phone.
And what does the band do then?
The band is taking my SOP. Heart rate, oxygen saturation, movement, sleep, and it's taking all my blood glucose and everything I eat, so I have to put in a picture in a meal. And it looks at me as one and gives me feedback on everything.
Okay.
Everything. So I get push message, AI driven, team based in Cork. Jason Ryan, who was my CTO at Trustev, so put the band back on the road. And then someone told me this guy, Shaquille O'Neal, is interested in this stuff. And we knew someone who knew him.
I was going to ask you, how did you get to him? Like,
we knew someone in HBO Sports who knew him. And we went on a call one night and we pitched him. And
When you pitch him, what are you pitching him like? You know, hey Shaquille, how
Hey,
are
Shaquille, how are you?
How's the form? What's new? Like,
And you know, taking all the pictures to share with people
yeah.
of the Zoom. And he said, "Yeah, I really like it." He said, "Us Irish must stick together." And I'm thinking,
I can see that. Yeah.
what's he mean by that? And I came off the phone or the Zoom and I realised his name's O'Neill.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Somewhere there.
So yeah, he invested in the same people again, Liam, Dan. We took 6 million from Hoxton, who were the guys who took DeepMind, Deliveroo public. And yeah, it's going really well.
What was the reaction to that compared to you pitching Sisu to them?
Well, the journalists liked it more. Yeah, it's cool. It's a brilliant product. It's transform. You know, weight is a huge problem in every country. Cripples health services. We've reversed type 2 in 60% of the people on it. So type 2 diabetes, average weight loss 13% a month with no dietary advice.
How does that work? You're saying, oh, it knows and it tells me. Like, how does that work?
So hidden carbs and hidden sugars and a lack of movement. So I could put one on you now and I can guarantee you there's stuff in your diet that's really bad for you. So you get an immediate message, what just happened?
Okay, so it asks you.
It asks you. So if you don't put in your meal or you don't put in an activity, or like someone just sent me a message there a while ago and said, oh, I'm just trying, I'm my first day on Limbo and everything's wrong. I just had
their life.
I just had a Mississippi mud pie. I said, yeah, that'll kind of.
No, come on.
But
if
see,
they need
you,
Limbo to
you
tell
have
them
that, you know. Like
Yeah.
Paul put it on and was messaging. I said, Jesus, he's on the bike having a few glasses of wine. I was wondering what Limbo advice he was getting, you know. So, but it's that immediate thing, and you know, if you look at what we're spending on Ireland alone, type 2 diabetes off the charts. But most modern nations are the same. And you're looking at the long-term impact of that to a healthcare service. And you're saying, hey, I've got this thing you just clip on your arm. And I think our success rate is 87.2% of people on the platform lost weight last month. And average weight loss between 9 and 13% of body weight with no dietary advice. And the only exercise advice is a 20-minute walk in the evening.
Okay, so you're
not
setting
asking
the
people
bar
to
low,
do
like
very low, but immediate feedback. What just happened? If you don't enter your food, hey, and then you say, well, I just had a Mars bar. It's a bad choice. At this time, look at the chart here, and you get a little push message back to you. It's really interesting, like incredible.
feels like it could be a biggie. Is this the one?
Sure, who knows?
Well, if Whoop were valued at whatever billion,
yeah,
feels.
yeah. Well, Whoop are probably in trouble at the moment, but
Oh, don't tell me that.
I think they are. Yeah. Well, I think I had the first Whoop in Ireland. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
They're in bother?
Yeah.
What, cash?
Well, the subscription model doesn't work. It's insane.
How do you mean? Is
Well,
it
you're
like
paying what, $15 a month
13 a
for
month, yeah.
13 a month
Yeah.
for why?
Yeah.
Apple doesn't charge you for their feedback.
So you reckon people will just be?
I think
using-
the problem is the Whoop at the moment. I don't have mine on anymore, but I think the problem with Whoop is that they're trying to sell you a service, and I don't know if there's enough money in the service to value it at $200 a year.
Okay.
Whereas Apple are selling you a watch, and it's not that hard to figure out. You know, there's not a whole lot of difference.
Right. You think it's a psychology thing?
I think,
People
yeah.
want
You
the
know, how are you
constant.
feeling today? Oh, great, yeah.
But then with Limbo, how does that work?
Limbo is feedback all the time, 24/7.
Okay, so people pay
You're-
monthly, but it's the
They're
feedback.
paying for the sensors,
Right. Okay.
but the feedback loop is there 24/7.
Okay.
So you can see stress. It's amazing what you can see from the bloodstreams. So you can see stress. Like I peaked before I came in here. I just looked stressed. So you can see stress. You can see movement. You can see blood saturation. Like you're seeing the full overlay on one singular platform. Whoop does a bit of it, mostly movement. Sleep isn't amazing. Aura is probably better for sleep, I think. It's the one I find better. But with this, you have the whole thing: exercise, sleep, bloods, movement, food feedback, dietary, everything.
So how do you take on a monster like that? How do you take on the Whoop, the Fitbit? And you said Apple there. Is Apple not the danger here? Is Apple not the danger? They put on a sensor and off they go.
I think the problem is the sensor, the sensors in my bloodstream. Apple are trying to do a kind of a thing where it's a Chinese guy living in Ottawa. They bought his patents where you can kind of look at blood sugar from the top layer
Through the skin?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But it's not there. It's probably 2 or 3 years away yet.
Okay.
But I think what we are is the platform. You can bring your own
Right.
blood sensor.
Okay.
We don't care. We're the platform, so it's fully AI based, big tech team, all giving you advice. You bring your own equipment if you want. We don't care. I want to be the brain of health.
Good tagline. So where does it go? How big could it be?
I don't know. It's tech. You know, how big could it be? $1 trillion? How big is the problem it's trying to solve? Type 2 diabetes is the biggest problem facing mankind
Really?
in health. Yeah, without a doubt. Look at weight. How much was spent? How much did people spend on Weight Watchers last year? You know, and they're
Feels-
always looking for an easy way.
Yeah,
Look at,
but that's the problem, right?
Buddy rang me the other day and going, listen, could one of the lads prescribe some Ozempic for me? Like, what? He said the Kardashians are all talk about it. You inject it and it magically makes the weight go away. Well, that's not how it works. You have to change. This thing gets you into really good habits because it's this almost health-based nudges. And I think everyone who has weight or who is overweight is looking for that easier, simpler way. You know, these are like Ozempic clinics, the injectable drug, those clinics are everywhere in America now. Inject it, yeah, but you'll get a bit sick. That doesn't really matter. It's $1,400 a month. That doesn't really matter.
Is there going to be a big split, though?
And people flying to Turkey as well. You know, how many people died this year? 4 or 5? Bariatric surgery because you're overweight.
Is there going to be a big split between the kind of haves and the have-nots? Is like, as you see, people are getting heavier, and you know, food choices are getting worse.
I think it's generational, and it's status. You know, you go to Cork and you look on the north side, people are heavier than the south side. How much money do people have? Because, you know, you'll see it. I'm sure the prevalence towards, I hope I'm not insulting anybody, the prevalence towards weight gain in Dublin is probably more driven towards working class areas.
Well, fast food is
Or
cheap.
we're
and
fast
bad choices
food
are
and bad
easy.
choices, and it's probably different in South County Dublin. I don't know Dublin very well, but even in Cork, even in New York, that's the same thing. It's a societal thing.
You mentioned your investments earlier. How do you pick them?
I've been really trying to stick to health and wellness, non-tech. If I can, or not non-tech, there'll be a tech element, but definitely health and wellness. And it's it makes life a bit easier because, you know, you get 10 or 12, do you mind if I send you an IM, etc., and go, no, I'm sticking with health. But if you hear of any in health, get it across to me right away. Look, read an IM, talk to the guy. I done one this morning. Guy I started talking to about a week ago. Interesting. Give me the bank account. Sent me a message a while ago, what you send money for? We'll have to work on documents now.
So you met him a week ago, pitched you, and you sent him the cash this morning.
Yeah.
The dream investor, huh?
But it's only small money, you know what I mean? I'm kind of like the 150 person. Not putting millions into things.
That's all relative, though, isn't it? At the early stages,
yeah,
right? That
I
could be the
think,
difference
like,
between getting going or not.
Exactly. And that's the thing people miss, you know? Like, if you can't get what you want to get going on 100 grand and there's one or two of you and you just want to try something, that's where you need to be in. Because where I am, I'm not going to be investing $1 million. So I need to be in the 50s, 100s and get in early enough. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't...
What was it about him the person or the idea that made you close in a week?
I liked him. He was young. It was a really good idea. He was extraordinarily passionate. If this doesn't work, his next one might.
Right.
And that's the thing, you know, this is like at 50s and 100s, it's gambling. It's about you. I'm not investing in, I kind of like the product, but I'm investing in the person or the people too, guys. That's what it's all about.
What turns you off an investment?
Geez, that's a great question. What turns me off an investment? Represented by Beach Hut. No.
For context, the owner of Beach Hut is in the audience, just in case people think we're slandering people here.
This
This
disclaimer.
podcast is purely for entertainment purposes only. This is not investment advice.
Single founders.
Really?
I don't like.
Okay. What else?
I think it needs two. Jesus, it's a great question.
What about cap tables?
Oh, yeah, great. I'm seeing more and more of it. Great company in Ireland I'm really interested in. And I'd actually buy this company to scale it.
That big.
A lot of money. It would be a lot of money. It's in the fitness space. Brilliant. Young guy. Kind of two of them. The other guy's small shareholder. Fucked up cap table. Gave stock to everybody. Pizza delivery boy got 2%. And you look at it and you go, this amazing company. You two guys run it. But the electrician got 3%. X got 2%. Someone else got 10. And you look and you think, you're going to get to a position here where over time, or sorry, not over time, very quickly, the founder of the company is going to have 10% at an A round. And you're just thinking 10%, it might even be single digits. He's gone at that stage. He's checked out because he doesn't see the billions or the tens, hundreds of millions that you see. And you're trying to protect them because it's happened to me. You know what I mean? You got
squeezed down?
I got squeezed down massively. Not in this and other stuff.
How does it happen? Like you said there, you're giving away too early, or how does it happen?
You raise too much too early. And then there's a contraction in the market and you need to raise more. And then you're low on funds and you're open to being abused. And you need to raise and you need to raise and you need to raise. And all of a sudden you own 6% of your own company.
Do you think that'll happen now? Obviously the market's changed, the economy's changed. People have started talking about down rounds. Do you think we're going to see a whole flurry of that, people getting diluted down?
No, I don't think so. I think Q1 next year is going to be enormous.
Really?
Yeah, because there's fresh snow there. There's money being invested. There's money waiting to be turned on. If you look at the real good VCs, they've still been able to manage to raise the same size rounds. So I think what they've done is, well, it's become AI obsessed. It was something else 3 months ago, something else 10 months ago. It was social for a long time. But I think good companies will always be funded. And I think what you're going to see maybe as early as August, September, that they're going to be looking for stuff. I don't think you're going to get, but then again, you know, a French startup in AI, a month old, got 105 million last week.
I thought that was a spoof.
No,
I
it's
thought it was
true.
created with AI, ironically.
Yeah.
I thought it was a spoof.
No. So they are looking. They're probably more value conscious than they've ever been. But I think they are looking, and there's plenty of money around. I just think it's, you know, if you're raising in Ireland, where do you go?
Are there many good startups coming out of Ireland?
I don't know. I don't see them. I don't see a lot. I don't see a lot of early stage stuff.
Why is that?
Well, I think it might change now, but, you know, you've had the Facebooks, the links, and etc. Twitter, all paying, Indeed, all paying really good salaries. I think people fell into that employment piece and lifestyle choices. There might be some stuff coming, but I don't see a huge pipeline for it, Shane's thing is really interesting, but I don't see very early stage, which is where I want to be. You know what I mean? I nearly want to be kind of the step after ideation when they approach me. I'm not seeing a lot of pipeline. I think as well it's so easy, you start, family and friends will give you 50k, EI will give you $1,000 for X. All of a sudden you have 100k and it's like, it's the dole for entrepreneurs.
How do you change it? How do you make it better?
I think you need to have more startups. More startup weekends, the events have kind of slowed down.
We talked about this as well. There's an awful wannabe entrepreneur scene around the tech space. There's a lot of people just want to be in it. How do you support it but properly to get people doing stuff, not just talking about it?
I think you have to do it locally. You've got a real good scene in Cork, probably trying to come out of UCC. You've got to go into the colleges, start early, build companies out of colleges, do the startup weekends, try foster it kind of much earlier.
What do you wish you'd known when you were starting off? You
Wish I'd known how hard it was.
Would you start it then, though? That's the thing. That's
Yeah, probably.
Everyone says that, I was naive and blah, blah, blah.
Probably, but it's much harder. It's twice as hard and 4 times as long as you think. So everybody thinks, you know what I mean?
But how would that knowledge have helped you, though?
It probably would have helped me prepare more.
Right.
I think that, I don't think people see... two things. I don't think people see the scale of Sisu, and I don't think people see early how long the journey is and how hard it actually is. Because I've seen so many Cork startups fail, but then I've seen Joe and the lads come out of Work Vivo with,
great story.
triple digits each is the rumour.
Is it?
Yeah.
Triple digits, huh?
So, that's, and I know that'll only help.
Yeah.
That'll help foster now.
I had them on, 6 months ago.
Sure,
and now when I look back on it, I'm like, they knew all along.
Yeah. Well, they picked the perfect investor.
Unreal.
So
anyone not familiar, Work Vivo sold to Zoom for what, 2? No? Really?
That's the local news.
Wow.
That's what I'm hearing. Anyway.
100 million. Go on, the lads. But we need more of that, right?
Of course we do, because they become investors. I'm an investor.
Yeah.
The more you get out, the more you get in.
Well, I ask everybody, what would you do, if you had this amount of money? They're like, invest in more startups. What is it like? What is it with entrepreneurs that want to keep spinning the dice? Is it to give it back, or is it to play the game? What is it?
I think it's that you've made all the mistakes and you could shorten there.
2 people listen, though.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah. Sometimes. I think it's the key part is, if they come to me and I can give advice on something that I went wrong on, I have no problem with that. If it's something that I don't know, but I can send them to someone who does.
You say you have a kind of a group around you. Is that where most of your investments would come from? Does
Yeah.
someone recommend it to you, and then so-and-so says
Yeah,
this,
someone
so-and-so says that?
approaches, I invest with Liam a lot. Dan and Linda, there's a couple of others.
No one outside
US
Cork, though.
base. No, yeah, there's a few outside Cork. We need some dollars as well.
So you don't even bother going up Dublin, just skip straight to New York.
The Doves don't like me.
Is the States the plan? Is this the plan for you? Because I see you there all the time. You seem to enjoy it. You seem like that's the thing. Is that the life? Do you want to go and live there?
No.
No?
No.
Purely business?
The beast comes home,
Okay.
It's no, I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. I like the East Coast a lot. I don't
Mm.
like the West so much. We were laughing about this a few weeks ago, you know. You know the way when I went to London in the 80s for the first time, you're kind of thinking the streets were paved with gold. It's actually every time I fly to the States, and this isn't as, you know, to be a tech entrepreneur, you know, you just look at it and you think, you know, I could be the biggest painting contractor in North America. It's that easy. They just have such an appetite to spend.
Really?
Like I was talking to a private equity company a few weeks ago. They're telling me, oh yeah, we just put 400 million into a car wash chain.
A car wash chain.
The scale is just extraordinary. That you could even think about, you know, the returns needed to come out of that. So they spend a lot on themselves. Food, exercise, things, and just their scale of spending. It's astronomical.
So would that be your advice to any Irish entrepreneur?
Forget about Ireland. Skip it.
How would you prove it? Would you prove it here or
In
would not
London.
even bother? London.
I remember this company, I think they're public now on the Swedish Stock Exchange or something. And they were in bins, very nice young fella. They did Startup Weekend Cork. And he was doing a new type of bin collection. I really liked it. And I said to him, you know, I know someone in Newham Council in London, which is one of the bigger ones. Kind of a method for waste collection. Really interesting. And he said, no, we're going to test in Waterford. I was thinking, that's a bit small, isn't it? Waterford? You know, test in a bigger market where it, you know, if you were going to do something, even internet scale, I'd rather test in London.
Is that Ireland? Is that an Irish mentality or what is that?
No, I just don't think the population's here.
No, but I mean, why do entrepreneurs automatically default? Is it a fear thing?
I
or
think
what
they're
is it?
comfortable in Ireland.
But how did you get comfortable being uncomfortable then? Because it sounds logical when you say it now, but like, you know, Pat started somewhere. So how did you get that level of comfort?
Like last week, I was staying in Mott Street in Chinatown in an Airbnb where I'm putting the stool up against the door every night. So it's still uncomfortable.
That's a choice, though, is it not?
Absolutely.
Why?
I think it's that you're kind of thinking to yourself, if I can show that this is how hard it is, that people will pick up on that's how hard it is.
So you're making yourself uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Why? But why for you, though? You don't have to. You can stay in a very nice hotel. Who are you showing? Are you still trying to prove it to yourself?
Yeah. All the time.
Comfortable being uncomfortable.
Comfortable being uncomfortable.
Serious lesson there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What isn't, I don't even know how to phrase this. What's next? Like, there's a lot next. You said you know what the next 3 are. Have you started them? Are they ideation? Are they something for the someday shelf? What is it?
I think Limbo is very interesting. I think the Here thing and Grow Club is highly interesting. There's definitely something in boutique fitness at scale that's very interesting. Maybe something in bloods. Highly interesting. Early detection stuff.
Yeah. I did my first bloods 2019. A friend of mine who's here, James, he recommended a doctor to do my bloods and just blew my mind. Changed my life. I was like, because I thought I was healthy. And then I went in and did my bloods. Now I do them every 6 months.
Yeah.
It
Imaging is very interesting.
Imaging. What do you mean imaging?
Scans.
Okay.
You know, there's some really nice startups in the space where you go in and you spend 2K head to toe body scan. Early detection stuff, very cool. Some very interesting fitness stuff around electrical charges on a suit you wear. That's really cool, very interesting again. But it's kind of that thematic stuff now that I'm kind of trying to stick to.
I think I know the answer to this, but do you have a number you're trying to get to?
No. It's not something that...
Do you even think about it?
Never.
Is that because you reach a level of comfort?
Genuinely, I've no idea what's in the bank. None. Zero. I've no interest in tax returns or no interest.
So how do you manage it then? How do you live day to day?
The debit card works. Genuinely.
Insufficient funds. Oh.
The debit card works.
I
I
need that
really
50K
mean
back.
that. And I always have a couple of grand on Revolut so that I won't run out. But that's the truth, genuinely. I have a car and a house.
What do you look forward to?
I have 4 grandkids and they're great crack. I presume look forward to, living on a beach someday or something like that, but not now.
It's never that for entrepreneurs, though, is it? It's never, oh, wait till I retire. No,
I think it's kind of, but there is a realization that, there is a slowing down.
So between 100 and 120, you're going to kick back.
Yeah, 104.
Just 104. We all need a goal. Right, it's almost time to do our quick fire round. Just be thinking of your questions. I'll open up the floor to questions now in a minute or two. So, Pat, our quick fire round. What book would you recommend? You said you're a big reader. We were in Dubray's earlier together. What book would you recommend?
I really liked The Billionaire That Wasn't. It's the Chuck Feeney story.
Chuck Feeney, yeah.
Which was really good. Guy that, had a huge impact on Ireland, gave away all his money, or the majority of it. I think he invented duty free. It's a great book. Great book, great
You read a lot?
Yep.
What do you read? Everything?
Crime thrillers.
Crime thrillers, airport stuff.
Airport stuff. Lee Child.
I do the same. I read non-fiction during the day, and then at night I read trash.
And then mostly trash.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Is that to unwind, or what is that?
Yeah, unwind.
Okay. In your personal life, what's the one thing you spend money on that dramatically improves it or makes you really, really happy?
Training. Fitness. I love doing classes. So
Classes?
Yeah. Soul Cycle, Orange Theory, Bike Ski Row, Obodo. I really like it because I don't have to go into a gym and load weights and load machines. It's 45 minutes. You can't use a phone because it's blaring music or spinning, and it's just that 45 minutes where I can just go, okay, there's no noise. And it finishes and all that stuff is gone. You're kind of going, okay, ready to roll.
So it ticks all the boxes for you. It
Everything.
gives you that manages to shut down
and I like there's a thing in Cork in a place called Oyster Haven, which is the sauna and swim thing. Yeah. And I do that Saturdays, and I find it incredible. Yeah,
we do that every Saturday, 7 a.m. into sauna, half an hour into the sea, and then we have a coffee, and it's just mentally.
You're just like, what's going on here? All the stress is gone. I couldn't recommend that more to anybody who hasn't done it. But they're everywhere. I don't think are they here?
No, there's one on Greystone. So there's a couple in Dublin now, I think, as well. They're popping up all over the place.
And you could do the sauna, swim, and go up to Sisu and Greystones afterwards.
There you go. We'll do a collaboration, huh? You heard hashtag Fox10 for your first Botox. What?
Oh, actually, the guys from Limbo gave me a code. I hope I'm not selling, but I'm not.
That's what we're here for.
It's entrepreneur uppercase, and it'll take 150. I think $150, 125 euros off the Limbo subscription.
Savage.
So
that in the show notes.
They just messaged me earlier.
Class. So entrepreneur, limbo.co.
Limborevolution.com.
Limborevolution.com. Perfect. What would you do today if I give you 10 million euro?
10 million euros. Buy Shopify stock.
Did not expect you to say that. Why?
I'm a big stock market guy.
I do follow you on the stock market. I love your Q&As, actually. That's why I did it. I love the quick fire round. I love every
I used to have loads of time to do them. So
every
I used
month
to
or
do
so
Q&As.
you do them? They're brilliant.
Sunday nights, but I get a load of hassle. So, and I never get through them all, but they're good. I like stock.
Do you do much dabbling? Do you do it in a fund? Do you buy it yourself? What do you do?
I buy it myself.
Okay.
On the phone.
On the phone.
Yeah.
few people who work in finance in the audience going to be horrified now.
Yeah,
I can hear the intake of breath
they
for a
probably
few
will be
people.
because intercert maths one probably isn't helping a whole pile. But I'm up well.
So Shopify, bullish Shopify.
But huge on Shopify.
Really?
Yeah, huge.
What else?
Amazon is killing me, which may come back. I don't know. It's Amazon as well down. I don't know. Let's have a look.
He's going to do a live buy right now.
No, I'm not. I just. Sorry, no.
Okay, open up the floor to questions in 2 minutes. So have your questions
What's
ready.
the big ones? Probably no internet here now. Facebook is really doing well again at the moment. Shopify.
You're positive Facebook? You're long,
I am.
long?
Yeah, I am. Well, like if you think about everybody, Facebook is dead. Yeah, but they own WhatsApp and Instagram, and I think they're going to get AR, VR right.
Think so?
Yeah.
You think that's going to be a thing, the
My
metaverse?
2 grandkids are Arthur's 9 and Thomas is 6. They are insane about Oculus.
Really?
And they have PlayStations and whatever, the handheld ones. And it's all Oculus. And
Really?
all their all Arthur's 9 and all of Arthur's friends are Oculus.
That's interesting.
I when you look at it and you see
Yeah.
kids doing it,
What do you think of the Apple one? The $3,000 or $4,000 Apple
looked
one?
amazing, but like Apple, it's the price of an iPhone in 18 months, 24 months.
Okay.
Because like people forget, I don't know which one this is, whatever, 14, is it 14? Yeah, iPhone 14 Pro Max, 1,500 quid.
Yeah, that's true, I suppose, when you put it that way.
So the phone part,
But where do you see it going? Like gaming or what?
I think everything. But I think the form factor is going to get, if you think where Google was with Glass,
Yeah, just didn't.
it was 5 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, way longer, I think.
Was
Yeah,
it?
I think it was, yeah.
I remember meeting
Closer to
Robert.
10, I think.
I met Robert Scoble in San Francisco airport, and Scoble's a huge VR AI guy. And he had it, and I put it on, and he was, you were like looking at your email in a pair of glasses.
So do you think it replaces the phone then?
Oh, yeah, guaranteed. Form factor's gone.
Okay, so you
This
think
is
once
stupid.
they get it
you know
into...
what I mean? You're like carrying that around for.
It's what you think just...
It's all on something like a pair of clear lens glasses. It's all going to, and it's problem. The problem is the power.
Yeah.
That's the problem for every headset.
They're still plugged in, right? So we're still probably 10 years away from proper...
Well, now Arthur and Thomas have battery packs for the Oculus.
Oh, they just wear
So
them?
Liam was telling me to get them. They clip on their belt now,
Okay.
and they've got 2 hours in the Oculus and 2 hours on the battery pack.
Unreal.
So I got 4 hours, and it's quite interesting. Like I've done the boxing games in them. It's a workout. So I think there's a lot of that stuff going, but I think it's going to come somewhere here. It's just going to beam in here.
You reckon? Like
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a contact lens or glasses?
Contact lens eventually. U.S. Army are testing the contact lenses. They're actually powered by the acidity in your tears.
If you're in the army, I guess you're going to be crying a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 1 million, but you're going to invest it. You've answered this. One company. Who are you picking? It's Shopify.
In Ireland, 1 million.
Yeah, 1 million. You invested in one company.
Probably Riley in Cork.
Yeah. We've had them on the pod. They're brilliant.
I think they're interesting.
Cool
As an
people.
advisor to them early. They're very interesting people, the 3 of them.
Yeah.
Smart, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sound
Yeah.
goes a long
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
As we always
I
say,
think sound
just
is great.
Be sound.
Yeah,
It'll pay
yeah.
off in the long run.
I think they're really nice. I like
They're
them a lot.
great. Yeah, I love them. They're really cool. What have you sacrificed to achieve your success?
Everything.
What do you mean?
Everything had to be dropped. No, I've got some of it back, but like, this was like, I need to go to Copenhagen Monday. Oh, by the way, I need to go to Sao Paulo from Copenhagen. I need to go to South Africa from Sao Paulo, and I'll see you all in a month, and month turns into 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Everything. Parents. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's like, I don't think people realize that successful entrepreneurs are so lonely. It's a shit job. Like,
Why do you do it?
fear of failure.
How did you square that with yourself mentally to be away, to say, right, I'm going to sacrifice time? How did you mentally square that with yourself?
I think you're trying to make up for so much with the late stuff.
Okay.
That you're saying, listen, this is going to be hard. It's for a period of time.
Okay. That's a good, honest answer. I appreciate that. If you weren't, if you weren't an entrepreneur, what would you be doing?
I used to be a chef.
Okay.
Pretty shitty one. I used to be. You know what's funny? I used to be a butcher as well. And it's like coming full circle. Now you've got all these, like you go to Brooklyn and there's really trendy butcher shops.
Yeah. Everything goes full circle. Everything
yeah,
what's old and new again.
I used
all
to
the
do
time.
that, and then it was fucking 12 quid a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I don't know, maybe food. I'm really interested in cloud kitchens as well, which is weird, but just as a hobby. I think that
hobby.
no, but I do think that what's going to happen, and you're just starting to see it now, kind of happening in London, starting to happen in the US, where people are creating platforms that are for Deliveroo only, and actually establishing the brand in Deliveroo and de-risking that, because restaurants are a disaster.
Yeah.
97
Really interesting.
97% fail in the first 6 months, no matter whether it's Gordon Ramsay or not. They just do, for some weird reason. The food can be amazing, and it just doesn't click. And someone spent £1 million in a restaurant. So they're now going on all the food platforms, well, you know, world's greatest burger, world's greatest cheesecake. Here's something that looks really interesting, kind of a different take, noodles or, you know. And if they can get enough of a following, build a social side and go, okay, we're the world's greatest chicken wing shop. And now I've got enough attraction to say, I've got the following, can I open one of these in Temple Bar or South Dublin? And you can de-risk the whole thing because you can see it now. And that's really interesting. I called cloud kitchens long time ago.
Yeah. It's genius when you think about it.
It's really interesting that you can almost do consumer testing at scale without doing consumer testing.
Look, all entrepreneurship is experiments. That's why we called it the entrepreneur experiment. That's all it is. If you were to start a brand new company in the morning, what would it be, excluding everything you started?
Fashion.
Go on.
Oh, sorry, shoes. Always shoes.
Shoes? Go on,
I'd
give
love
us
to
a
be
bit
a
more than
cobbler.
that.
I'd love to be a bespoke cobbler.
I can't tell. You're taking the
Where
piss out
is
of me or
that?
not now.
You know,
You want to be a bit cobbler?
I love shoes, and I'd love to find some time to go off and learn how it works.
Pat, you're a man of many layers. You are a man of many layers. What do you believe that other people disagree with or find weird?
Paddy Cosgrave is fairly sound.
That's the soundbite I needed. Right. If you were to make 100 quid tomorrow, what would you do? You can't use any of your contacts or any of your old businesses. You've got to make 100 quid from scratch.
Something to do with home maintenance. I think there's a huge company waiting there. I think we all have window washing problems, driveways, gutters. You know, I have a guy, you know, I'm in house I'm in, I'm probably there 8 or 9 years. I think there's probably after been about 40 window cleaners through it. It's like guys who are stuck for money come and clean your windows on a Monday. No one ever comes back.
Yeah.
I think and Oisin Hanrahan, who some people would know in here, built a brilliant company in New York called Handy, which was around home services.
I had him on the pod. Fascinating character.
Brilliant guy. My son was one of his first engineers.
Really?
And, you know, someone comes and hangs your TV someone comes and fix your bathroom, someone come and clean your house. And I think there's still that huge piece in Ireland where home services is very, very disorganized.
Oh, it's a pain in the face. I think there's an area for what you did for Sisu, add a tech layer to traditional business. You can book it on time.
Yeah, I think
How much is it?
What's
There's
his name
the
from
quote.
Forest?
Oh,
I think he's doing something in that space.
he's trying to do something like that. It's a
His name,
no-brainer.
He's got an old Porsche.
If you can brand it and you can
Yeah.
do
And,
it,
you know,
you can book it online. It's going to be 200 quid. It's this. Yeah, it's a
it's
no-brainer.
paid for in a credit card. It's a platform.
Yeah.
Probably best piece of advice I could give is to someone go build that. to be honest.
Sweaty startup. It's all the
Yeah,
rage in the
that's
States.
all there is.
Yeah. What's your final bit of advice to entrepreneurs?
Do it. I mean, like, that's the thing, you know. Try it, risk it. It's like, get out of that comfort zone, leave that job. Never ask anybody for an NDA. Probably the most important thing. Like, you know, I had a guy yesterday email me, got this amazing startup. Yeah, do you want to chat? Yeah. Do you mind signing an NDA? Delete. I'm not going to steal his idea. I think there's people obsessed. You know, there are people who will, I'm sure, Paul, you've heard this over the years, and they still haven't built the startup. This
Yeah, it's the
idea
best
thing
kept
as if,
secret.
like, it's the
Stealth
most
mode.
amazing thing, but I got
Stealth
to
mode, yeah.
protect it.
And they hold it too tight.
Give it away
Yeah.
if you don't want it.
No one cares.
No one cares. There's no VC going to go build your startup.
Just do it.
Yeah, and don't expect VCs to help you build companies. Probably the second bit.
Right. He's got questions for Pat. Oh, straight up the back, James, right. Keen.
Hey?
How are you doing? Brilliant story. You're talking about getting up really early in the morning and getting straight into reports at 5 a.m. in the morning. So, like, what is it that's your superpower that brings your companies to succeed?
I think I'm very direct and probably difficult enough to work with. Maybe not too difficult, but pretty direct, able to read a spreadsheet. But I think the superpower is surrounding myself with the best people in the world. You know, that's been, you know, we can name them, you know, Dermot Homa, head of fraud at Trustev, went on to a huge career. Chris Kennedy's building multiple Irish startups. Rorik from Trustev, DC. Kieran Sexton is now huge job with a European startup going to scale to a public entity. I think it's just finding this talent. Jason Ryan is the CTO at Limbo. Clinton Sweetman, who was the junior engineer at Trustev and a kid back in the day, is now number 2 at Limbo. I think it's just finding talent and building that bench that you get to choose from and finding these people who are willing to come with you on a journey. That's what I'd say.
Savage.
Pat, how are you?
Hey.
When you're trying to scale, say, obviously you've had multiple businesses and you've gotten that MVP, are you trying to like smash an acquisition channel to grow from like the beginning to get to some form of scale, or are you putting most of your attention on products to like get the word of mouth flowing?
No, scale. The other, the acquisition piece.
So like smashing ads
Yeah.
or smashing outreach, or
Yeah.
and do you think that's like a dirty secret of like growth?
I don't think so. I think it's kind of a standard practice now at this stage, you know. Find the customers globally, scale it up, do it again, rinse, repeat. I think it's the only thing that works now at scale level.
Has there been any company where you've done acquisition to a point where you've said, well, we have to go back and fix product now because acquisition is becoming too expensive?
I would say probably Sisu in the US was difficult. CAC was high. We've solved it, but it was high. And whereas it's almost free in Ireland because the brand is strong. So, you know, probably went into the US a little bit blindsided. Went in thinking, hey, we're Sisu and everyone in Ireland knows us and I'm going to show the Yanks how to do Botox now. And yeah, got our ass handed to us fairly quickly. But we've now solved all that. But I'd say a bit of that was probably ego as well. Probably thinking we were, bigger than we were, and they should have heard of us. And that was a good lesson. really good lesson. But yeah, we fixed that. I think, you know, once you manage your CAC, you can manage everything. If the CAC is smaller, than the first transaction margin, you do, you know, then it only needs a wheel.
Matthew.
Hey, it's good. You talked there a couple of times about kind of when you're thinking about your own business via, you know, Limbo or what you're thinking about in the future, that kind of total like addressable market of what you're going into, and that health is your next space. Do you think that now with AI and people needing data sets so much to train all of this, that actually potentially startups, yes, you have this large total addressable market via health or something like that, but what maybe people are missing is the data you're collecting now is actually a lot more valuable as well, and you can get revenue from the customer, but on the back end you won't be able to get revenue on the data that you're buying.
I think that's going to change over the next couple of years. I think people may become data protection obsessed. And this is from someone who just had a DPC investigation. So I think it's I think unless you have implied an absolute consent on data, like I worked for the biggest data company in the world, TransUnion, who have, you know, cradle to grave credit information. But I think how you slice and dice that and the level of privacy is going to change. But I do think data is insanely valuable. It just depends how you structure it early on. But AI is, you know, the valuations are going to, that French one from a few weeks ago, that's just going to become the norm from now on. Yeah.
You think that's it, that like from the start, now, you know, entrepreneurs and their businesses need to think about that for the future long term
Yes.
of your data and having the rights to use that in whatever way you see fit from the start.
Yeah, and that was something, you know, I mean, at the very start of Sisu, we were thinking about just protection of the data and protection of the patients because, you know, we're in an unusual position in that it's a patient.
Mm.
And how you market to them is really absolute consent, you know, and then you've got HIPAA in the US, and like it was kind of lucky that I had built Trustev around so much data, because, you know, we can't share US data with Europe data and Ireland data. And so I think it's really important how you build the stack early and to try to think about when this is worth something, how am I actually going to physically market? But it's, yeah, that one's been hard for us.
Hi.
Yeah.
Catherine. Which is your most profitable clinic?
And can we?
How much your background, Catherine?
I messaged you earlier.
Oh, I do, yeah. I remember the message on LinkedIn. I don't know, we're profitable as a group. I kind of wouldn't be comfortable.
From my experience, and I had clinics very early on, you know, probably way ahead of when it wasn't profitable at all at the time. And it's, yeah, the rents are very high. Are you finding that?
No, we're okay. We signed good leases. I think it's about, I'm comfortable signing high rents if the location and the patient acquisition is right. Now, we're worn out from looking down the street here. They are priced too high. You know, I saw Amy Connolly opened on the top of Grafton Street, and, you know, there must be more money in makeup than I thought. But it's, you know, we wouldn't be comfortable signing, you know, 300 to 500K a year leases. But we have signed them in the US. We have pretty substantial rent roll in the US. But, you know, they're in incredible locations in Soho. We're directly across from Soho Grand.
Here's location number one.
Yep. In Flatiron, we're on West 23rd, just across from the Flatiron building. So you know, if you're in the right location with the right population and you think you have the right acquisition model, the rent is just a factor. But in Ireland, I think our average rent's about 50, 70k.
And London.
Probably double that. In one area in particular, we have an amazing clinic in Mayfair, just across from the Ritz.
Okay,
It's
next
not
question.
expensive.
David.
Thanks, Pat. That was brilliant. I know you mentioned, obviously, you talked a lot about health. I'd love to get your opinion on kind of CBD, THC, and I suppose functional mushrooms. Where you think kind of the industry's going?
Exploding in the States. Like, it's New York is this weird thing of cannabis is illegal and legal at the same time. I can't figure it out. You know, they're selling bags of grass on the streets now, on tables.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even the dispensary model.
No,
like-
no. There's guys pull up in vans now.
I think that's because you're staying in those seedier. maybe
No,
areas.
this was outside our clinic a few weeks ago. And myself and Brian Cotter went over. Is this actually legal here? Yeah, it's kind of illegal. And
Pat comes back for the next trip. Lads, new business.
but it's yeah, so yeah. Obviously being sober, I haven't tried that, but I think it's interesting. I think it's more, you know, there's a couple of really cool ones that are, you know, the apple of cannabis. The name escapes me at the moment, but you go into an Apple like store, and they sell you, you know, a bit like Amsterdam, but it's high tech and there's different flavors, and they're doing, but they have big problems with the banking system in America.
Yeah, so you can't bank.
You can't bank federal. You can't bank to a bank that trades federally.
Yeah,
So
it's all local.
yeah, so it's all local. You have to bank to a local bank, and then the local bank has to make sure that the cash you gave them can't enter the national money system.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So there's big problems with it financially until it becomes legal nationwide, which is no doubt. There'll probably be a few abstainers, but I think it's a really interesting space. I think the microdosing space is highly interesting. I think it's probably a couple of years away here, maybe 4 or 5 years, something like that, but it's coming.
Thanks, Pat. That was great. Just wondering what the order was in your idea solidifying. You know, when you had a lot of ideas and you're thinking, which one am I going to really go after? Whether it was like you just really honed in on the idea and then looked to your network for, you know, who can I do this with, or that, or whether you kind of it was an element of both, and it was who you knew and who was there and who you could get a business going with. Like, so.
I think at the start it was who I knew and who I could get it going with. But now that it's kind of more thematic, it kind of sticks to health, and I'm stuck with that. And that's where I'll stay. But I think at the start it was like, you know, I have this idea. It's for internet cafes and phone centers, and then it was for calling cards, and then I was traveling so much it was for a roaming platform, which was Cubic and IoT, etc. And then it was fraud, because that was frauded all the time. And from there it was, you know, sorry, excuse me.
All right. So you just followed your kind of your passions and your
Yeah,
curiosity.
yeah. And even still, I'm probably still doing the same.
Charlie.
How, for your own businesses or for business you invest in, how do you, or what is the decision criteria about flying west or going to the UK? You seem to have a lot of experience about both. We've some investors who are very adamant on trying to push us stateside. With the UK, we work with a lot of brands. There's a very kind of a solid, at least warm intro, first introduction you'll always get in the UK market, and it's the closer flight and that sort of thing. How do you think about the decision?
Closer for who? You?
For ourselves, in terms of getting a meeting and the kind of chance of entry.
So you make a decision based on your personal...
Complete convenience every time. You know?
Okay.
But in terms of like decision criteria, in terms of going after a market like that and trying not to do everything at once, how do you think about that from a...
But I mean, like, if you think about it, New York is really close now. All marketing's on the East Coast. The brands are, you know, you can go to New York from Dublin today and be back Thursday morning, you know, on a Monday, or fly out Sunday afternoon and be back Thursday morning. and have 3 really productive days. And what's to stop you doing both?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's just more from I think there's probably a founder-led approach there for the States because of how expensive it is to hire and then trying to do it.
But do you need the founder to be there? Do you need a founder to live there?
Well, potentially not. I mean, when you're trying to make the most with the little money you have.
Yeah,
you're
that's
trying to spread it
that's
out.
the
So
thing, you
it's
know.
more we're trying to make the decision of trying to stick kind of single market or single segment multi-market.
Yeah.
Or kind of go one market multi-segment, if that makes sense. You know, stick with the UK but go after multiple types of brands and verticals, or stick within a certain type of brand and then try and.
And who does the selling?
Myself primarily as a founder, and then we've just hired in someone on the commercial side.
Okay.
He's taking over the management of the team, and I'm trying to make the call of how much time am I spending London, New York, on market. Do I need to hire someone in market? Just some of those decision criteria and how to
Probably
prioritize.
definitely need someone in market. I know they're
Yeah.
I mean, I remember hiring the first guy in New York, it's 160 grand, and I was on 50. You know, the sales people really make great money, especially in the States. But if you have the right one, they build a business. I think it's the scale. Look at the scale of the brands. I mean, you can feel it out easy enough, get a few meetings in each market. And I mean, it's just platform. I presume it's platform.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a research platform for brands.
Yeah. So I think what would be interesting for you is to do the events, meet the potential clients, and see what kind of, you know, you'll be driven by the market anyway.
Yeah, I was recently at a wedding in Chicago, and I couldn't get over how Irish people are just like celebrities compared to the UK, where you're kind of there's a little bit of the Paddy approach.
Yeah.
When you're over in the States, and they're almost buying from you before you.
Exactly. You know, the Irish American group in New York were really good to me. Fergal Kenny, he owns a company called Glenborn. He's a recruiter. He's like the most finger on the pulse Irish person in New York, and he's really brilliant. If you want to message me, I'll introduce you.
Yeah, will do. Thank you.
He's been brilliant.
Savage.
For Limbo, what's the plan there in terms of like to get mass adoption? Do you have a target in your
To
head,
drive
like,
the price massively downwards, it's
do you have a target price for it?
50 a month.
You know, yeah.
That's where I'd like to be. It's, you know, it's a medical device, so obviously the sensor part comes from Abbott, and they're expensive, but we're working on it. We have a new sensor at the moment that sits in your tummy, tiny. Transmitters included, so it changes everything. And we've been testing it, and it's probably 3 to 4 months away.
You think it could be 50 a month in
Yeah.
the next year or so?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I think then you're in, 50 a month is like incredible. But I think it needs to get down to that for kind of mass adoption. But like then again, how much are people spending on wellness?
Yeah, I know a few people that are using it. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are they happy with it?
Very happy, yeah. Very
Great. Well, that's good news.
Savage. Was there one final question? Yeah.
I know you're going to live to 120, which is fantastic. But is legacy important to you? Is it important for you to leave a mark on the world?
No,
No. Okay.
couldn't care less. Throw me down the back of the garden.
But I'm curious to know what success looks like for you then. If it's not legacy and it's not the yacht, and what is success?
I'll let you know. I don't know yet.
Tell you when you get there.
What a way to end. Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Phelan. Sisu, give us the domains before you go. Sisu
Sisutechnic.com,
and Limbo.
LimboRevolution.com.
And how can people inundate you with pitch decks?
They'll find me on any one of the social media ones. We said the first. These are for you. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Whoever the first 3 questions were, just grab your bags. Some Sisu stuff there, really cool.
Thank you very much for coming. See you the next one.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Wherever you're listening, whether it's Spotify, YouTube, or Apple, click that subscribe button, and I will see you back here next week for a brand new podcast.